on a historically cold afternoon here in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome you to the Plymouth Athletic Gymnasium for another basketball matchup doubleheader as the women take the floor first. The Beacons of UMass Boston take on the Panthers of Plymouth State. Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Braverman, joined alongside Max Clifford. Max, I said it right off the top. It's historically cold. Let's get that out of the way. But with the action that we have here today, the doubleheader UMass Boston Plymouth State, it should hope.
Absolutely, and you're not going to want to step outside all day long today because we've got a pair of matchups for a pair of teams from UMass Boston that are seeking playoff berths and that need big wins over the Panthers today. They both won when they traveled to Plymouth earlier this month. They're going to need a repeat performance today for the team to stay alive.
Take a look at our statistics between the two. Plymouth State has been struggling all year long. You saw it on the graphic, 5-14 overall. Still looking for that first conference record. You can see it there. Offense have been struggling throughout UMass Boston. They've slowly been improving that offense.
Yes, absolutely. The offense is picking up lately, and if you watch UMass Boston basketball, you know that they don't score a ton of points. They've won the game low total.
Also, the turnovers, I think, Max, is going to be absolutely 19 turnovers a game for UMass Boston, 21 for Plymouth State. It is going to be so vital that both take care of the ball.
It absolutely is. UMass Boston, team that can test, led by Sonny on the defensive end. They're a team that likes to field ball. They like to get in space, cause unforced mental errors. They really disrupt the game on defense. They cause a lot of turnovers. For a team like Plymouth State that commits quite a lot of turnovers, that's going to be a dangerous game to play.
Time now for our matchup to watch between UMass Boston and Plymouth State. We're going off the grid a little bit for UMass Boston. Carrie-Ann Farina, the third leading scorer for UMass Boston. Get there 7.5 game. The third leading scorer, but is a very crucial part of no matter what this say.
Absolutely. Like you said, Joe, Carrie-Ann's not going to stuff the stats. He's going to get done what needs to be done. He's going to get you a bucket if you need a bucket, get an assist. She'll light it up for free every once in a while, too. So this is a really experienced leader that can really take more.
Well, on the other side, State, Sophie George been lighting it up. The freshman from Meredith, 14 game, shooting 33.5%. She knows how to fill up the stats.
He absolutely does. And if Plymouth State is going to have success on offense tonight, it's going to come primarily from someone who really handle the ball and put the ball in 14 points a game. Nothing. He's at 33.5%. For this team is a good percent. Obviously, you want to see that a little bit higher offensively.
So we're getting our starting lineups out of the way with all the announcements. Here's our at the Beak for this upcoming weekend. It is very busy today. We mentioned it. We got the doubleheader for basketball here. We got the women first, followed by the men. But both ice hockey are taking place after. Women are a little bit of feet in front of us here at the Carth Athletic Center. They'll kick off at 3 against Johnson Wales, while men's hockey also Johnson Wales are on the road for to pause quickly, take a look at and you're starting 5. Right back.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also
We are back Clark Athletic Center. Amazing moments of basketball and Plymouth State. Here's our head coaching matchup. Heather Jacobs in her second has looked very, very good in her second with a one-game lead over the University of South Maine for that final playoff spot.
Yes, see Heather out there on the court with the newest member of UMass Boston South Club, Meg Dick. Got it. I was lucky enough to be on the call when she got there. That really killed the game. Heather Jacobs, incredible job protecting. Great better.
Other side. Nothing better right there for Meg Dixon. 1,000-point score. What an accomplishment for Meg Dixon. The other side for Plymouth State, and Novick. 12th season for Plymouth State. Started as the interim head coach in 2019. It's slowly getting better. Yes, it's been a tough year, but there's quite veteran leadership on that side.
Absolutely, yes. Plymouth State looking to break out of a funk here late down the stretch. Haven't come yet, but experience coach, anything happens.
Now, individual leaders, both starting lineup getting mentioned. It makes it newest 1,000 score. It's going to be that main point on offense, leading 3-point percentage, free throw, and in rebounds. Meanwhile, Sophie George talked about it, player to watch for Plymouth State. He's going to be someone they run the offense.
Plymouth State looking at the one, Sophie, they both rank top three in about every page had. Bounce this, defensive stats. Get things started on offense.
Now your starting five looks like this. Meg Dixon, Terry and Christina, Sunny Page, Pierre, and Alexa Potter. Beak, Chance, Sophie George, Nelson, Sarah, Jalen Cook, and Allie Ingalls. As the Beaks are currently being introduced in the starting five. We mentioned it. It is cold, and we felt a little bit of it here in pregame. It's not necessarily standard temperature here at Clark. I think that's a fact.
It is a bit chilly today, inside, outside, wherever you are. You're a little colder than comfortable, but I think the okay with that. I mean, the visiting team comes from up north, but students and athletes in Mass Boston walk to class every day, right next to the bar. Let me tell you, as lives right next to me, as all get out. So, England, fast.
So we are seconds away from the tip-off. Panthers come in, losers of 4 straight games, 12 of their last 13 games. Meanwhile, this is huge for the Beacons. 7-3 right here at Clark Athletic Center. They're 3 games behind 4th place Pass. They got to So we are getting ready for the tip. Looks like it'll be Potter and Cook getting it started.
Strength on strength with the two bigs here. These players are going to be pivotal, to this matchup. Last time these two teams faced off, UMass Boston won the game by 20, and they won the points in the paint battle 30-14. Alexa Potter is their primary center, and if they want to get things started on offense, it really has to run through her, and it's going to be Jalen Cook who is tasked with shutting her down.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room really quickly. You see all the trash bins over there. We did have a pipe burst pregame. It's not getting anywhere on the court, so as of right now, the game is still going on. We are working as hard as we can to fix things here, but
well, Joe, we talk about it later in the broadcast, but we are celebrating International Women and Girls in Sport Week this week, and one of the things that women in the sport industry can do is manage, not disasters, but manage unexpected situations. And the incredible folks, men and women here at UMass Boston in the athletic department, are doing their very best to clean up this water. It sounds like it's raining in here. That's a situation that you really couldn't predict. A burst pipe is frustrating, but we're lucky that the architecture has it over the bleachers and not over the court, or else we'd be in trouble.
Again, we are going to work as hard as we can. You can see refs are currently discussing it around here. But meanwhile, let's talk about the importance of this last couple of stretches. There's about 3 weeks left to go here in the regular season before postseason right now. You look at that LEC standings right now. You mentioned UMass Boston. They're currently in 6th, but they're only 1 game up on Southern Maine for a spot in the playoffs. It's going to be absolutely crucial down this last stretch for the Beacons. They've got, after today, 3 more games. 2 of them are at home, though. So it's going to be very important here in this last stretch for the Beacons.
Yep. The Beacons need to defend their home court big time because every result is make or break in this league. And as you mentioned, Southern Maine is right on the tail of the Beacons at the back of the playoff standings right now. So they want to win out, win handily, and go into the tournament with a little bit of confidence and hopefully the best possible seeding.
So we actually just got word, sorry to interrupt you, Max, but we are going to have a 15-minute delay as they take care of the situation in the stands. So we're not going to tip off just yet. So meanwhile, we can just continue to stress how important this is going to be here for UMass Boston and for Plymouth State. You mentioned how important UMass Boston is, but for Plymouth State, there's still a shot. They're 0-12, they're 5-14, sitting on the last spot, the very last spot in LEC. They've got a ways to go, but they're going to have to win out the rest of the way to have a shot at the postseason.
Right. The best thing about playing in such a small league is that nobody's ever truly out of contention until probably the last game of the season. Plymouth State, we mentioned, haven't won a conference game yet, but this is an experienced group with an experienced coach, and if they get hot at the end of the season here, there is that tail end of the tournament that they could sneak into and make a little noise in the tourney.
So again, if you are just joining us, there is a 15-minute delay as we had a burst pipe pregame in the stands. We are working extremely hard to try and fix that. So again, 15-minute delay. We hope to get this game going as soon as possible. We'll take a break here, as again, we have a delay. We are still waiting to get this game underway between UMass Boston and Plymouth State. We'll be right back.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey, and that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, and I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests.
Welcome back once again to the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. We are in a game delay as of right now. The estimated time is 15 minutes. We're still at a TBD, but look who's joined here, Max.
Everyone's favorite, Bobby Beacon, is out on the court. If you can't play hoops, you might as well bring out the mascot. And look at the smile on his face. He is not shaken by this delayed start here today. Love to see Bobby, a Beaconville favorite.
Yeah, so again, as mentioned, it was an estimated 15-minute delay as of right now. Again, we are experiencing record cold temperatures, so we're just waiting for the court to dry out, and hopefully things can start slowing down, because this, obviously this game, if it cannot happen, it will get postponed to a later date. But this is a very crucial game. We continue to say it, Max, how important it is, not just for UMass Boston, but for Plymouth State.
It is. It's incredibly important for both teams. And for UMass Boston, fighting for playoff positioning, Plymouth fighting for their playoff lives, but really even more so for the Panthers, they just want to see one go through the hoop, as it were. They haven't won a conference game yet, and I think that just makes you hungrier to win your first. I think it's a big difference between winning one and winning none. So I think Panthers were really excited to play this game. We're hoping that it's going to start very soon. And the Beacons are really excited to defend home court, because this is super important for where they're going this season.
Well, we've been having a lot of fun during the delay. You saw Bobby Beacon. You see him currently taking pictures. We also had a couple of T-shirt cannons. We signaled to him out in mid-court trying to get us over here.
Right.
But apparently we got a giant wall in front of us.
I don't know that it has the range on that thing to reach us. Just a little too high. But yeah, this is what it's all about, man. If you can't start the game on time, you might as well have a little fun while you're waiting. And now teams getting a little shooting around, which is great to see. They need to stay warm. They don't want to get cold while they're waiting. And
yeah.
We mentioned it's a cold weekend. So.
Yeah, the concern right now is the water right now is getting onto the court in front of the stands. There are some carpets out trying to keep it as dry as possible, but just the fear is that it gets onto the court. So you want to have the full surface, including even to the stands. You want to have it as dry as you can.
Absolutely, yes. The player safety is of the utmost importance, and inbounds, out of bounds, it really doesn't matter. We need to keep it dry. We need to keep it safe for the players to participate in this game, because we don't want anyone getting hurt this late in the season. and water's a hazard. So we're working on cleaning that up and trying to prevent more water from coming down, but at the very least trying to prevent it from getting on the court.
So we'll take a break yet again. Again, we are in a game delay. We hopefully should have Plymouth State and UMass Boston starting in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you. I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to.
Welcome back. After our delay, we are going to get a game started in just a few minutes, Max. It's very, very exciting. Again, the unfortunate delay that we had, just doing the math, it's a 22-minute delay from right now, and it looks like we're about to tip off.
That's what D3 basketball is all about. At all costs and all unexpected situations, we're going to play a basketball game here today, Joe.
So again, we try to shift our focus to the delay to now. It is very, very important. We've been stressing it all along. UMass Boston coming in 11-10, 4-7 in conference play, only one spot ahead for the final playoff spot. Plymouth State 5-14 overall, 0-12, still with the postseason in their eyes, but a loss today would greatly hurt their chances.
Absolutely, yes. UMass Boston playing a little defense with their position in the standings. Plymouth State, all offense, all gas, no breaks, trying to squeak their way into the LEC tournament, and this is where it starts for them. If they want to find a playoff berth somewhere, this is where it begins.
So you can just see final discussions, final preparations here. We'll try and remind you of the starting five here for the Beacons and the Panthers. I don't think that will change drastically, but you see it there. Dixon, Farina, Green, Olivier, and Potter. You have to think it's going to be that two-person game between Dixon and Potter. Potter with a great advantage for size down low.
Absolutely. Don't overcomplicate things is what I always say when I'm on the women's basketball broadcast. Start with Alexa Potter. That's where the offense should start. She is often the tallest player on the court. Today she will be easily the tallest player on the court. She's dominant down low, and she has the best shooting percentage on the team by far because she doesn't mess around with mid-range or long ball. She is down low. She will sometimes get a bad angle and smoke a layup, but that comes with it. And more often than not, she's going to get the right shot, and she's going to probably get the offensive rebound if she misses. So that's where the offense starts. And Meg Dixon is the best backcourt player. She's going to be the one feeding Alexa Potter for the most part.
And meanwhile, George, Nelson, Sweet, Cook, and Ingalls is the starting five for the Panthers. So here we go. After a 23-minute delay, we are about to tip it away. It's going to be Potter and Cook to tip it away. Cook coming off a 13-point, 5-rebound performance in the last time out at Castleton. Potter wins the tip, and we are underway as the Beacons start with the possession. Swinging it around the perimeter for Olivier. Over to Dixon.
You can see immediately Alexa Potter posting up, looking for that pass down low.
Extra pass for Olivier. Three-pointer off the mark, and the rebound tracked down by Green. Dixon will try from the corner. Off the mark, and the rebound goes to Cook.
Not a bad shot for either of those two. Those are the best three-point shooters on the team. Like I said, though, you want to look at Alexa Potter, get that look as well. So not a bad shot, but there's a better shot.
This is Nelson. Nelson loses the handle, taken away by Dixon.
And that's the size of Meg Dixon. She's not, not as tall as Alexa Potter, but she's a lot taller than most of the other players on the court. And that pass was just right into her arms. It was never getting past her.
5'10" graduate forward, Hanover, Mass. Honored before we had the delay, reaching the 1,000-point mark. Dixon down low for Potter. Basket's not going to count. It's an offensive foul. Drawing the charge, Allie Ingalls.
A lot of contact down low. That's one that's hard to avoid when your body is moving so quickly in one direction. Alexa Potter got the bucket, but it's called off after the play.
And you saw it after the pass. A good play to just stay down low. This one finds George.
George and Cook is going to be that 1-2 punch, like I mentioned before the game. The two leading scorers, double-digit scoring averages. They're going to be the ones to get most of the buckets today.
There's the three-pointer by Sweet. Knocks it down.
She must have heard me. She didn't like that she wasn't in that convo. Plymouth State, not the best three-point shooting team like we mentioned, but hey, if they're going to heat it up, they will take that all day long.
5'11" guard from Narragansett, Rhode Island. Here now is Farina, one of the players to watch. We mentioned Dixon with a deep three. Off the mark. Potter's right there for the offensive rebound, and she's able to draw the foul.
And that's something that Alexa Potter does really well. you can't really defend her all that well because she is taller than you for the most part. So a lot of fouls she draws, and she hits a lot of her free throws too. It's a good way for her to get on the board here early.
Ranks in the top 10 in rebounds per game at over 7. It's also top 15 in points per game, just under 12. First one is off the mark. And you got to say, Max, the first few minutes for the Beacons offense is going to be so important because one of the keys to the game feels like all the time is shot selection and momentum.
Absolutely, absolutely. The Beacons, they know what shots work, but sometimes they just can't find those shots and they settle for bad ones. Early here, 0-2 at the free throw line. That's something else you don't want to see right now for the Beacons.
Panthers swinging it around. This is Cook. Back out. Here's another three-pointer off the mark there for Sarah Sweet. Dixon comes up with the board.
She does that better than anybody else on this team and pretty much in this league. Meg Dixon is one of the best rebounders there is.
Beacon so far 0 of 3 from the field to start this game as we're at 7:45 to go in the first quarter. Fakes it. Olivier, three-pointer. Off the mark.
Allie Ingles doing a great job of shutting down that passing lane for Alexa Potter. She knows they're looking for it every possession, and she is just getting her three-quarters turn on Alexa Potter and shutting down that option.
Nelson lost the handle, goes back to the Beacons. We mentioned they're now 0 of 4. That's 0 of 4 also from 3. Every shot so far for UMass Boston has been from beyond the arc.
That's not what they want to see. That's not the style of play that works well for them. It helps, but that's the kind of bucket that they're looking for. Carrie Ann Farina with a big drive to the hoop there.
Senior forward, Arlington, Mass. Interesting here.
Yeah.
Nelson was behind the half-court line in the backcourt starting the offense. We'll have to keep an eye on that later on in the game.
Yeah, that's a risky move by her. I hope she was aware of the time that she was taking back there.
10 seconds here on the shot clock. Sweet looking to drive, pull up from the elbow, gets the late call, count the basket, and has a chance for a three-point play.
A very tough bucket for Sweet and early. She is the only contributor on offense for Plymouth State. A three-point bucket earlier and a chance for a three-point play here.
Sarah Sweet mentioned it, standing at 5'5", is going to try and get the 6-point, not just for herself, but for her team. And gets it to go. It's a quick 6-2 lead. Sarah Sweet came into today. This is the 20th game played. She only averages a little under 4 points a game, and here she is already with 6.
Well, there you go. You've had yourself a day already, Sarah Sweet. 6 points is early. All of the points for the Panthers right now.
And Olivier was left open. Can't knock it down, but look at Green stealing the rebound from behind. Now to Olivier. Green from the elbow. No. Rebound Sweet.
And this is a trap that the Beacons tend to fall into, which is very dangerous, which is falling in love with the three-point ball and not doing anything else. So far, they've only shot threes. They need to be looking for other options because so far it's not falling, and they don't heat up too easily.
Here is Cook with a pull-up. No. Loose ball gathered by Farina. Now Farina looking to push it to Dixon. Dixon will back it out.
Good find.
Cutting Olivier, blocked. And a loose ball foul. Is this going to go on?
Not Allie Ingles, I believe.
Will go on Plymouth State. That is Ingles' second personal foul. So she's going to have to come out, and we'll get Haley Hurd in.
And that's the risk you run defending Alexa Potter. The only way sometimes to stop her is to foul, and Allie Ingles in foul trouble early here. Early.
So it looks like they're calling it a shooting foul. So Olivier will get herself to the free throw line. First one is off the mark. Olivier, last game out for UMass Boston at UMass Dartmouth. 8 points on 3 of 11 shooting, including 2 of 9 from 3. Second one is good. Cuts that lead in half. It's now 6-3. And here comes the full court press. Panthers able to break it. Goes Cook, swings it out to the corner for George. Off the mark on the 3. Olivier tracking it down. She holds on to the rebound.
And a big contest there from Sunny Green to get in the way of the shot. A great defender.
Speaking of Sunny Green.
There it goes.
A little in, out, and in once again. And just like that, they have cut the deficit to even. It's tied.
Well, that one had you holding your breath the whole way there. It was in, then out, then in again. So the first 3 ball of the afternoon falls for the Beacons.
There's a corner. No answer there from George. Loose ball is gathered by Jensen.
I got to say, this is going to be a bit of an ugly game if both these teams keep shooting the three, because both of them have hit one, but they've both shot about 6 or 7, so not great shooting percentage early.
Panthers are 2 of 6 from the field. Beacons are 2 of 8. You saw it go off the hands there of Nelson, able to get the deflection, and we'll get our first time out of the game. We're tied at 6, just past the halfway mark. 4:54 to go in this first quarter. And as you keep mentioning, Mac, it's going to be all about the shot selection here for UMass Boston. I mentioned 2 of 8, 1 of 7 from the field. That means only one shot has been a non-3.
That's absolutely correct. And this team struggles sometimes with that shot selection. Taking too many threes, falling in love with the long ball early. They need to remember what works, and which is feeding the low post. They've got some tall players that can match up with Plymouth State's bigs. They need to keep that in mind and play the points in the paint game.
We got a great crowd here despite the delay. You saw some shots of it there.
Absolutely. Props to the Beacons fans for hanging tight. We've got quite a few teams. I see softball. I see women's soccer, I believe. I see baseball. We've got a lot of teams showing out today. And a youth basketball team as well. That's cool to see the kids coming out for a little afternoon basketball.
I know it doesn't feel like it, but spring is only a month away.
It is.
Their seasons get underway in a month. They'll be ready in March.
I can't wait to be outside in a short-sleeve T-shirt watching softball this spring, man. Doesn't feel like it's coming, but
I mean, you're in a short sleeve now. You ain't bothered by that, Cole. We're all bundled up here. You're the only one just chilling out in a shirt.
I like to say I come from Vermont, as if that really makes a difference.
Well, speaking of making a difference, Meg Dixon just made a difference as she's got a chance for a three-point play to give the Beacons their first lead of the afternoon.
There's so many things that Meg Dixon does well. One of them is just driving to the hoop and getting a bucket despite the foul. And here she is with a chance to get a three-point play. Beacons now in the lead.
Dixon coming off a 22.6 rebound performance in the loss to UMass Dartmouth a couple of days ago. In the conference, she's the top overall scorer at 17 points a game. And she's second in rebounds.
It's incredible what she's able to do on both ends, to grab rebounds and get buckets on the other end. She's really consistent on both ends of the floor.
There goes George, baseline drive, now stops and floats, off the mark, tip, and it's like everyone lost the possession and went off of Olivier.
Wasn't quite aware of where the ball was at the moment. I think Paige just didn't see that one coming down. It hit her on the head.
Again, both teams have struggled shooting early on. UMass Boston 4th in LEC with a 37% field goal percentage. Plymouth State, meanwhile, right at the bottom at 29.8. Down low. Here's Hurd. Turning floater, no. Rebound to Jensen. Here goes Jensen pushing it for Farina. Gets a little hop step in there and knocks it down. Kind of an off-angle layup there for Carrie-Ann Farina.
Definitely an uncomfortable position for Carrie-Ann. She had to change it up in the air to not draw an offensive foul, but really nice move from her to get the bucket.
Ooh, Sarah Sweet once again. She is holding that hand up. She is on fire. She has scored all 9 of Plymouth State's points.
Welcome to the show. I said a 1-2 punch of George and Cook, but the 1-2 punch has been Sarah Sweet and more Sarah Sweet.
Here's Dixon trying to answer, and she does. Now you're starting to see after that timeout, looks like the Beacons are starting to get into a flow on offense.
Absolutely. No, they have not wasted any possessions since that break. They were doing that a lot early, and it's something they struggle with often, but now taking good shot selection, getting those buckets that they need, and a nice 5-point lead here.
A little miscommunication. George able to track it down, and a jump ball as Farina came in there, get her hands on the possession. And possession arrow favors Plymouth State right now, so they'll keep the possession with 14 on the shot clock. 3:22 to go. Over to Cook. Cook for a 3. A little bit long, and the rebound goes to Fevry, who just checked in.
We talk about the experienced leadership of this UMass Boston team, but there are some impact underclassmen as well. Right now, Tatiana Fevry and Sabela Jensen out there working together. They are both freshmen, and they have both played meaningful minutes in their first season and doing some big things as well.
Speaking of big things, Jensen got herself big on that offensive rebound, just couldn't make the putback.
It was a tough position. She got the rebound well, but wasn't in the right position to put that shot up.
You also got a fairly small lineup out there for the Beacons. Basically, Olivier is your center, having to go up against Haley Hurd, who's the Panthers center. Here goes George, using the pick perfectly, and drives for the easy layup.
We knew it wasn't going to be long until we saw Sophie George with a bucket. She is the leading scorer on this team and leader in many categories for the Panthers.
She's actually tied for 6th in points per game among conference players at 14. She's also in the top 20 in field goal percentage. Olivier to Fevry. Panthers showing a zone. 7 on the shot clock. Green loses the handle, gets it back, and a jump ball. As Beacons will keep the possession. They've got 5 on the shot clock.
They need to draw something up quick here. They can't be wasting any time. They've not got no time to waste. And they're putting their best shooter out there because, well, they're likely going to have to catch and shoot on this possession.
So it's like Dixon will come back in. Sonny Green will get a rest.
All eyes on number 1 out there. But Paige Olivier can catch and shoot as well. She's got a great jump shot.
Over to Dixon. Dixon from just inside the arc is short. So obviously the play was to get the ball to Dixon and let her shoot.
Yep.
Just couldn't make it happen. Panthers will get it back down 3. And that a loose ball fell on Jensen. It is.
That full court press drew Jensen into committing a foul that she did not need to commit. Fouls worked well early, the presses worked well early, but got him in some trouble there.
3 team fouls apiece, so no foul danger for anyone. Here's Nelson. Looking for some options. She'll back it out. Gets it over to George. George going to use the screen, see some space, fires, and knocks it down for 3.
And now Sophie George is looking like what we expected her to look like coming into this game. A quick 5 points from her has the Panthers right back in this game.
Another timeout here for UMass Boston with 1:40 to go in this first quarter. Mentioned it, 14 apiece. Offense slowly getting back to things. Each team has made 5 field goals. Difference right now, Panthers 3 of 7 from 3, Beacons 2 of 9. And that's some more numbers. How about 4 offensive rebounds for the Beacons? But right now, these teams are pretty much even with each other.
Yeah, they're doing just about the mirror image of what the other team is doing, playing some good defense. Started off with some rough shot selection, but getting better as the game goes on. Plymouth State shooting a little bit better from 3, but as we mentioned, the Beacons have some height and some strength that helps them out down low.
Both teams are coming off losses. Panthers have lost 4 straight in 12 of their last 13. Dixon, floater, knocks it down. Meanwhile, the Beacons 7-3 at home. They lost to UMass Dartmouth this past Wednesday, 60-45. Panthers lost to Castleton, 63-46. There's George, guarded heavily by Farina, and a foul from behind. That's going to be a matchup to watch here. They're going to put Farina, we saw her on Sweet earlier on, now she's on George. You got to think, if there needs to be a stop on offense, they're going to put number 11 in white to try and make that stop.
Absolutely. Carrie Ann is a relentless defender, and especially without Sonny Green out there, who is your typical hound dog on defense, Carrie Ann's going to step into that position.
The first one is good from George. George coming off 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists in that loss against Castleton. They go 1 of 2. Look out. Fevry tried to save it, and it went off of Fevry, it looked like. The Panthers are going to get an extra possession here with just about a minute to go here in the first quarter.
That was a smart play by Jalen Cook. She knew that Fevry was in the air with her and bounced it off of her knee. A veteran play against a freshman from the Beacons.
Looking for options, down low to Cook. Cook with the up fake, gets into the paint, hooks it, doesn't get the bounce, and it goes off of Dixon. Another extra possession here for the Panthers.
Yeah, and this is not what you want to see for the Beacons. They want to grab those defensive rebounds, secure them, and take a possession away rather than giving a possession back. The Panthers getting a little more life than they would like to be giving up right now.
Beacons have the 4th best rebounding margin among conference teams in the LEC, and they are top 3 in offensive rebound. So very unlikely here. Performance. Oh, Jensen got a hand in there on the block, and now the Beacons will get the possession off the loose ball.
A dangerous play, but Alexa Potter in the right place at the right time gets possession back for the Beacons, and with under a minute to play, they want to get a bucket and extend this lead a little bit here.
And you notice that first possession, they cleaned it up. Why? Because Potter was in there.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why Potter was brought back into the game by Heather Jacobs.
She makes a huge difference. She doesn't play as many minutes as some of the other starters, but she makes such a big impact when she's out there on the court.
Dixon catches it at the free throw line. Knocked away for a moment, got it back. Now going down low over the top for Potter.
That is what they want to see on offense. That's what I've been clamoring for all season long. When you feed Alexa Potter, use her height to her advantage. She gets that nice positioning under the basket and a nice easy layup. 2 points for the Beaks.
20 seconds to go here. 18-15 lead for UMass Boston. Cook looking for Nelson. Nelson off the screen and an illegal screen there by Jalen Cook. Will give the Beacons possibly one more shot here in the quarter.
Beacons making the other team make some mistakes. They are really good at that, forcing some quote-unquote unforced errors. A little self-destruction for the Panthers, but that's the kind of thing that happens when you're playing offense against the Beacons.
Fourth turnover of the day for Plymouth State. Here goes Jensen driving, gets it out to Fevry. Fevry fakes it, puts up the shot off the mark. Potter didn't have time to get the putback in, and that'll do it for the first quarter. So it started out slow, but the teams are starting to heat up after one. The Beacons lead by 3. We've got quarter number 2 coming up in just a few moments.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a-lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
And we are back in the Clark Athletic Center. This is Max Clifford. I'm reminding you to follow along with the Beacons on social media. If you missed the first quarter, if you missed last night's hockey games, there are always highlights at UMass Beacons on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube highlights, and Facebook updates as well. Mike, our producer and our assistant athletic communications director, takes such good care of us on social media, keeps us all updated.
18-15 Beacons on top as we start the second quarter. Panthers with the possession here. Max, what we saw in that first quarter right before we went to break is that it started out slow, but the offense is slowly picking up, and the Beacons, as I mentioned to you during that quarter, have found their flow. See 5 seconds on the shot clock here. Cook got to put something up, and she does, laying it home.
And that's what we're used to seeing from Jalen Cook. And like you mentioned, these two teams not wasting any possessions here, which is surprising. Their first matchup had a combined 90 points.
Now, if you're just joining us, we did have a 22-minute delay here before the game, but we are back into the flow of things. 18-17 now, Beacons. Here's Potter. She gets into the post, and she lays it home.
It works so smoothly when they try it. When they actually give the pass to Alexa Potter, she can do really nice things with it. 4 quick points on a 4-0 run by herself, or 4-0 run for the Beacons.
And we mentioned the slow start. UMass Boston started 2 of 8 from the field, including 1 of 7 from 3. It looks like they're not so reliant on the three-point shot now here
and I think
in the last couple of minutes.
That's a lesson that they seem to relearn every game. But the three-point shot, it helps them when they need it, but it's not something that they can rely on. I think Meg Dixon is a great three-point shooter. Paige Olivier has been heating up, but it's not going to be there all the time.
Fevry with the hop step got blocked. Potter's putback couldn't go. Fevry does get the possession back. Shot clock did not reset. Sitting at 7 right now. Dixon gets it to Green. Green's going to shoot it, but she traveled. It's a good-looking shot, but just one too many steps there. It's almost like an extra hesitation there for Green.
Yeah, she sometimes does that. She seems to think a little bit too much when she's on offense handling the ball. Just a movement that was too quick for her own feet to handle.
Panthers getting it back here. Get it out to George. George with a step back three off the front rim. Potter tracks down the rebound. And these are two teams that are in desperate need of a win in conference play. There's another travel and another turnover there. This one by Jensen.
Coach Jacobs cannot be happy about back-to-back travels. That's an ugly play from the Beacons to follow an ugly possession that ended in a travel.
Third turnover of the afternoon, but keep in mind, last game against UMass Dartmouth, they committed 34 turnovers.
And they lost. That's a great recipe for a loss. If you want to commit 30-plus turnovers, that is a key way to lose a game, and they want to keep it well under that mark today.
Green came in with the steal, gets another possession here for the Beaks. That's the 5th turnover of the afternoon for the Panthers. Jensen setting offense up, paying some heavy pressure.
Yeah, Sarah Sweet not letting Sabela Jensen breathe. She is right up in her face.
Dixon looking for options, now to Green. Green with 4 on the shot clock, gets it to Fevry. Extra pass.
Need a quick one.
She does get it off. Can't hit it, though, and the rebound goes to Sweet.
The Beacons were patient on that one, probably a little too patient. Didn't get the shot off, or got the shot off in time, but not the shot that they wanted.
Three-pointer off the mark. Dixon with the board. Here's the drive by Jensen. Just blows right past. Couldn't put in the layup. And the loose ball will go back to the Beacons. Looks like that was Ingalls who might have lost the handle on the rebound. Couple of subs coming in. Jakimi Pearson gets her first bit of action, and Farina checks back in. Inbound goes to Farina. Now out to Dixon, has some space. Off the mark. Rebound to Cook.
That's a play that they like. They like to let it develop, and then get Meg Dixon a three. Not a bad look, but rims out.
And an illegal screen, another turnover here by the Panthers. This one on Cook. That'll be her second personal. That is turnover number 6 of the afternoon for Plymouth State.
Both these teams we mentioned want to keep their turnovers low. They struggle with committing turnovers, wasting possessions.
Oh, what a play by Dixon, but couldn't finish it on the layup. Looked like she faked sort of the handoff and just drove into the paint.
It was an incredible drive without the finish. If she had been able to get a little better angle on that one, it would have been an incredible bucket.
Here goes George now working against Jakimi Pearson. Dixon comes in with the interception. And Dixon gonna find Jakimi Pearson, and she lays it home. What a finish.
Incredible court vision from the 1,000-point scorer. Meg Dixon weaving that pass between a couple Panthers and right to Beeb and Jakimi Pearson. Excellent find.
Turning offense into defense. You saw Dixon. We'll get to the replay in just a second. But coming in on the interception, and then, as you said, some beautiful court vision. You kind of forget how good of a passer Dixon is because she's able to score and rebound as effective as she does.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you think of her scoring first, then her rebounding. Both lead the team. She doesn't pass nearly as much because she gets so many baskets, but when she does it, it's a thing of beauty. It really is, and quite an assist there.
So now 22-17. Take a look at this play one more time. Turning defense into offense.
That is going to make the highlight reel. The way she reaches up, full extension, grabs the steal, and then a perfect pass to Beeb and Jakimi Pearson. That is a great breakaway possession for the Beacons.
A one-handed laser of a bounce pass, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
And you saw all the Panthers defenders, all eyes were on number 1 that left Beeb and Jakimi Pearson to streak right up the floor and get that layup.
Right. They knew exactly what they were expecting. They were expecting a Meg Dixon drive to the hoop, but that's not what they got. Instead, they got a beautiful pass that they couldn't locate BJP.
Now possession will start with the Panthers off the timeout. 22-17, again, is the score. Take a look at some of our statistics here. Beacons are shooting it a lot better. They're 9 of 24 now from the field. And they ended the first quarter 2 of 9. They've only taken 2 3-point attempts here in the second.
I think they're figuring out that that's not something that they can do on every single possession. They need to get some better shot selection.
Farina, loose ball. What a dive by Farina. Still a loose ball, and Dixon eventually comes up with it. Dixon has some space, in and out, and Potter had the rebound. But instead, it will go the way of the Panthers.
Well, you look at the takeaway for the Beacons. That's just a scrappy, like hustle your type of play you're used to seeing from the Beacons. They get low, they get down on the ground, they get dirty.
Now Cook with the possession, bringing it up. Interesting. You had Cook sort of playing down low. She's also playing that point guard position. A lot of versatility.
Absolutely.
On that Panthers team. Cook wanted to step back. Instead, kicks out to George. George off the mark on the three-pointer. There's Potter with the miss. Now Farina pushing it to Green. Three-pointer. In and out. There's Jakimi Pearson once again. I think she had a block from behind. And we'll go back the way of Plymouth State.
The big board from Biba Jakimi Pearson. A lot of traffic down there to get the putback, but to grab a rebound when you're the shortest player on the court like that is really impressive, especially in traffic.
And a good play there by Farina, knocking it out from behind. Saw the pass over the top to Ingles. We're past the halfway mark here of the second quarter. 5-point lead for the Beaks. Panthers have cooled off a little bit. They're shooting 6 of 18 from the field. 3 of 10 from 3. Make it 3 of 11. Loose ball goes off of Farina. And Plymouth State will keep the possession.
Bit confused. I think Alexa Potter came out to contest the 3, but you expect her to be down low, and then a missed rebound for the Beacons. You expect that she would have been able to grab that one. So a little out of position.
That might be a strategy for Plymouth State, is take the center out from down low.
Absolutely. Perhaps that's why Jalen Cook is playing every position on the floor.
That one off the mark there by Hurd. Here comes Dixon pushing it. Goes cross court to Green. Green sees a lane. Unable to hit the layup. And a blocking foul as Farina tried to give a little bit of pressure on that full court press.
Yeah, that was momentum against momentum, and they bumped into each other. Could have gone either way, but Farina's feet were definitely moving on that one. So a foul for her, possession for the Panthers.
Again, this is the second time this season. Like they're just resetting the shot clock here. We mentioned last time these two played was back on January 7th, almost a month to the day. Beacons came out with the win at Plymouth, 55-35. In that game, Dixon had a double-double, 16 points and 13 rebounds. So this Panthers team, saw Farina knock it away. This Panthers team knows how to shut down the scoring of Med Dixon.
Yes, they do. They do. That was a low-scoring game for both teams. Meg Dixon came out as usual as the leading scorer, but that's not her. She is used to scoring more points than that one. So just 16 points. Panthers know how to do it. They've done it before. They need to keep an eye on her today.
Here's George in the corner. Now going to drive on the baseline. And a blocking foul. Looked like Jakimi Pearson not giving George enough space there on the baseline. Only the second personal foul to go against UMass Boston. No one really in the penalty.
Been a pretty clean game so far from both sides as far as fouls go. Been some turnovers, but not a ton of contact too much or in the wrong time.
Rebounds right now are +2 in favor of UMass Boston, 18-16. Beacons will get the possession back. Jakimi Pearson's going to inbound this one. Again, if you're just joining us, we got a 22-minute delay. Beacon started out cold, but then they've slowly been heating up. Potter misses that one. Here goes Cook the other way. And this is the first of a doubleheader. Men are coming up next, as they'll look to rebound from their bit of a losing streak. Counted, and the foul for George. Sophie George finds a way to make that layup go, and she's got a chance for a three-point play.
And she looked like the leading scorer on that one. She made quite a move to the hoop, drew the foul on Biba Jakimi Pearson. That's a veteran play going up against a freshman for the Beacons. And now Plymouth State looking to get within 2 here.
George now has 8 points. Make it 9 off that missed free throw. Her and Sarah Sweet with 9 points apiece. Now a 2-point game.
This is a really tight game, just like we expected. We knew it was going to be pretty low scoring, really competitive game between these two teams that play great defense.
Dixon fires it into Green. Green to Potter. Has it stripped from behind by George. George up ahead to Cook. Cook lost the handle on the spin. Green came in with the interception. And now the Beacons will get the possession back. Tell you what, Green, it feels like she's everywhere. Always at the right time in the right place.
That is absolutely the brand of basketball that Sunny Green plays. She is just everywhere that the ball is at any given time. She's causing problems for the offense on defense.
Here she is on the baseline drive. Potter, quick jump shot is good. A little bit of an elbow there.
That's further out than we're used to seeing Potter shoot, but man, that was nice, and it went right down, no problem.
There's Autumn Nelson up at the handle. Farina with some heavy pressure. Gets a little stop and start, cross court now to Sweet. Now for the cut to Hurd. Off the mark for Haley Hurd.
Tough to make that shot over Alexa Potter down there.
Interesting enough for Farina there on defense. Everyone she's guarding, she's bringing a lot of pressure, in the half court.
Absolutely. She's causing some problems herself. That's exactly what you can expect from Carrie Ann Farina on defense.
Here's Green driving. She has it stripped. Beaks keep the possession with 2:15 to go here in the first half. Meanwhile, Beacons have had 14 points in the paint. 14-4 is their advantage as Farina trying to weave in there. Lost the possession once again. 7 on the shot clock here for UMass Boston. Points in the paint, 14-4 in favor of UMass Boston. Dixon makes it 16 points with a turnaround in the post.
That's great movement in the open floor. That's what you're used to seeing from Meg Dixon. She finds the right spot and the right shot.
There's Nelson up the floor. Again, we got halftime coming up. Farina with a foul. Trying to go on the reach in there. The second personal to go on Farina, so she's going to come out and make a rest along with Sunny Green. Again, we've got halftime coming up. We got an exciting halftime here, I should say.
We are
got a
very busy.
Very special guest. We're not going to say who it is just yet.
Keep that one a secret.
We'll give you your halftime stats, scoreboards around the LEC, and much more. That's Nelson putting it up and in. Just if you're wondering, we've got these stands set up right in front of us. They're getting that thing going if you're hearing some loud banging.
It's nothing if not a little distracting, but there's no broken pipes over here, so we will gladly welcome the fans right in front of us. It's nice to have some company. This side of the gym is so empty.
Hey, we've got a great production crew here.
We
They're
do,
not
we
company
do.
enough?
No. They're wonderful up here. They're wonderful. Big fan of the student body, though.
Olivier down low to Dixon at the free throw line. Back to Olivier. Fakes the shot, goes to Dixon, down low to Potter, turns, and an offensive foul. That's the second time here in this first half that Potter has been caused with a charge.
What I would have liked to have seen from Alexa Potter is to take a little bit more time to secure that pass, turn, and then get your shot off. What she did, she just one fluid motion, caught it, turned, and then not only missed the shot, but knocked the defender over for a charge. So it was a little too fast, got her not only a missed shot, but a foul to go with it. So not the possession that you want from Alexa Potter.
Here's Nelson driving once again, facing a double team. Potter from behind.
What?
She lost the possession, though. Potter kind of, I don't know if it was intentional or not. It looked like accidentally just reached over trying to go for the ball.
Yeah,
stepping over Nelson.
A lot of twisted legs there.
And they're going to reset the shot clock at 20. Or is it going to be a full reset? Looks like it is. Full reset at 30. Inbounder here is Sweet. Gets it into Cook. Cook sees the lane and is able to draw the foul on Jensen. And Cook will get herself to the line. I got to tell you, Jalen Cook has been very good here this afternoon. The stats don't show it, but it feels like she's always there driving to the basket. Just get the few shots to go. This could be a much different game.
Absolutely. And you can't overstate the importance of being able to play all 5 positions, which she really has. She's been shooting the ball well. She's been controlling the court as a point guard, and she's been matching up down low with Alexa Potter, which is huge.
Cook coming off 13 points, 5 rebounds in the loss to Castleton on Wednesday. Second one does not go. Potter gets the miss as we come up on the final minute here of the second quarter. And there's a reach-in foul on Nelson. I'll tell you what, Nelson has been very feisty on defense along with Farina. Each team's got sort of their sort of anchor on defense.
Absolutely. The Beacons are a team constructed of just scrappy guards, and they're led by Carrie and Farina, and you can see kind of the same makeup for Plymouth State. Nelson leading the charge on defense, and it's the reason that this game is still relatively low scoring at half.
Dixon at the elbow. He's going to drive in through contact. No, able to get her own miss.
How about it?
And jump ball looked like was called.
That's the Meg Dixon difference. If she misses a shot, she's going to chase it down and get her own offensive rebound.
The old adage, follow your shot. That's what
absolutely.
Dixon does very well. 49.1 left here on the clock. Dixon on the inbound to Jensen. Now it goes down low for Dixon. Now a turn short on the baseline. Kind of an interesting strategy here in the second quarter. They're going to Dixon a lot in the post.
They are. And we mentioned
poked from behind by Dixon. Here goes Jakimi Pearson. Now to Dixon's going to back it out. Was looking for Olivier. Miscommunication. Fast break opportunity to Cook. Back to Sweet. Baseline J. No. Olivier on the rebound. Now a loose ball. Olivier sliding on the floor for it. And the ball hit the out-of-bounds line, and it's going to go to the Panthers. That was the hustle here in the second quarter.
That was a messy possession. Both teams struggling to handle it, but as you mentioned, the hustle of both teams on offense and defense looking to make a play there.
And speaking of defense, there's Dixon on the interception and a pass behind Jensen, and the Panthers are able to call a timeout. Talk about heads-up play by Leah Swanson in her fourth season. Saw the possession, wanted to get that last shot, and was able to call a timeout.
Absolutely. And you see what should have been a incredibly easy steal, fast break, turned into something complicated because the Panthers turned from offense to defense so quickly and broke up that Meg Dixon feed to Sabela Jensen.
So now 13.9 left on the clock. You'd have to think the Panthers took that timeout off of the steal to get that final shot.
Absolutely. They want to put together a possession here. You've got about inside 14 seconds here. They don't want to waste a possession. They want to be very careful, get a good shot, because they want to cut this lead down going into half. This is, a 5-point lead and a 3-point lead are very different.
We will give you the numbers at halftime for both teams. Panthers on the inbound. This is George to take it. 7 seconds to go now to Hurd. Hurd looking for options. Hurd with the handoff to Sweet. Sweet gets it out. Cook gets the shot off. And it is no good on a three. And now we have hit halftime as the Beacons lead it 26-21. As mentioned, we got a lot going here in this first half of Max. Let's just talk about that first half on both sides.
Absolutely.
For Plymouth State, started out good, then everyone kind of came back down to earth. Looks like UMass Boston, as we said, found the flow on offense, but the Panthers continue to hang around.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're not going away. We mentioned this. They want to win this game. They've got slim playoff hopes, and they're still in search of their first conference win. I mean, you cannot knock them for wanting to get one. So they want to win this game very badly. They are only trailing by 5 at halftime. I guarantee they're in there saying, hey, we're right there with them. This second half could be ours. They just need a positive point differential. And to control the turnovers, too. They were played a little bit sloppy in the first half. Both teams did. The Beacons are a good team on defense. The Plymouth State offense, they want to keep it rolling.
Meanwhile, how about for UMass Boston? You just mentioned it, and we just talked about it. The offense, back into a flow. They kind of slowed down a little bit in that second half of the second quarter, but here they are still maintaining the 26-21 lead.
Yes. So that offense has been really good at times and really rough at times. They're committing some turnovers more than they would like, but they're playing great defense to make up for it and maintaining that 5-point lead heading into the break.
So we are awaiting a special guest here to join us in just a little bit, but let's talk about the message coming out into the second half. If you're both sides of it, if you're Heather Jacobs and you're Leah Swanson, what are you telling your teams?
Yeah, so for Heather Jacobs, I think the message is don't come out flat. There have been some games this season in which UMass Boston came out of the halftime locker room and just played poor defense, played poor offense, and this is where games really get away from them. They know they're the better team here today. I think we can all agree on that, but they don't want to look sloppy coming out of half because a bad third quarter can let the whole game get away from you.
So we are going to take a short break. We'll have a special guest join us in just a few moments. We're at halftime here from the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. It is 26-21 to 21.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity.
And we're back at the Clark Athletic Center. We have a very, very important guest joining us today, one of my personal favorite people in the world, Dr. Allison Smith. Dr. Allison Smith, you are the head of the Sport Leadership and Administration Student Association, the Women in Sport Leadership Association. You are a professor of sport leadership and administration. You are a softball coach here now, former college pitcher yourself. The resume goes on and on and on and on and on. And your passion, as anyone who knows you knows that your passion is advocating for women and girls in the world of sport. And that's what we're celebrating this week. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about International Women and Girls in Sport?
Yeah, so we had the opportunity this week to have International Women and Girls in Sport Week, where we had an educational series over 4 days. So our first day we had a panel of experts from the city of Boston, huge women executives in the city who came out, who sat on the panel, did some small group discussions with our students and talked about how to get in the industry, how to navigate the world of sport. Our second day was full of research presentations. Our students got to learn from myself and several other professors here on campus, as well as Caroline Fitzgerald, who's the CEO of Goals, which you and your colleagues got to interview her on your podcast, Betting the W. So I'll plug for my students here. And then yesterday we had a career workshop where we had, again, some of those amazing women from the city of Boston and in sport come and talk to our students about how to get in the industry, and then more specifically look over their resumes and their cover letters. And then obviously today we're here to celebrate UMass Boston Athletics and to support our Beacons.
Absolutely. As someone who attended all those events, I can tell you that they were all incredible, well-run, informational. I learned a whole lot this week, and I got to meet some amazing women from the sports industry. It's incredible what we're doing here. So actually, you just answered what you've done this week to celebrate. You had all these incredible events, learning a lot, teaching our students what women do in the sports industry and the impact that they can make. And so personally, for you, what does this week mean to you as a former athlete, as a coach, as an administrator, as someone who teaches sport leadership? What does this week mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, this week obviously means the world to me. It's my entire research line. I think, as you said earlier, all of my students know this is where I advocate for. This is my passion point. And so for me personally, it's a way to just lift up and to celebrate women from where we come since Title IX and the opportunities we have. But I think furthermore, it's a way for us to reflect on how can we do better about giving more access, giving more resources to all women, and just trying to centralize them and think about them each and every day, but obviously during this week especially.
Absolutely. And we mentioned it. I had the chance to put together a video of a bunch of our staff members talking and our student athletes talking about what Women in Sports Week means to them. And they said that we should celebrate women and girls in sport all the time. And so it doesn't just have to be a week, but man, we are sure glad that we have this opportunity to celebrate women and girls in sport. One personal question for you. As a coach of the softball team, check out the softball team this upcoming spring. They have a former college star pitcher as their pitching coach. Do you ever get in the pen? Do you show them up with your? Do you still have the heat?
I haven't got to show it yet. Coach did say recently that she would like me to start warming up and start getting back into it. So we only have 3 pitchers right now on our staff, and so in order for our pitchers to make it through the whole season with a low number, your girl's going to have to come out of retirement and throw some BP.
Yes.
So I'm hoping the arm can hang in there and stand up to it. I'm probably going to be really competitive. I'm probably going to get way too excited about striking people out.
Absolutely.
I don't think the athlete mentality ever leaves. But yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the team. I love being around the team. They bring me so much joy, and like getting to be on the field and coach again has brought just so much passion back to my life that I've really missed, and I didn't realize how much I missed being around softball until this fall, joining the team again.
That's incredible. I think if Dr. Smith were to throw a bullpen, I think it might set an attendance record, because I really want to see how hard she can throw. I've heard stories, but I want to see it in real life. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for coming and helping us celebrate International Women and Girls in Sports Week. We're so grateful for you and all the work that you do in our community and in the greater community all year long.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity, there's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy, I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy, I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, where it's so much better to have an advisor helping you out, telling you which classes to choose.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go. What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people, it certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
Welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. About a few minutes away from starting the second half between UMass Boston, Plymouth State here at women's basketball. Joe Braverman, Max Clifford. Let's talk about that first half, Max. We talked about it before the break for that tremendous interview that you had. Both teams kind of started slow, heated up, but then they slowed down again. You see the numbers right there. Not the best shooting days, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, as per usual, it's a game of runs. And they started off cold, then they got hot for a bit, and now they're cold again. Fortunately for the Beacons, they're kind of doing that in lockstep, and I think that the Beacons think that they can outlast the Panthers if this keeps continuing. But the Beacons would like to shoot well regardless of the situation when they come out of the half. So they want to come out, they want to look strong. So far, we got... Let's see, who do we have? Let's see, Mike Dixon, of course, leading the way. 10 points already and 5 rebounds to go with it. That's the kind of thing that she does on the regular. And, of course, the surprise from Plymouth State, we have 9 points for Sophie George and 9 points also for Sarah Sweet, who has had an incredible breakout performance here this afternoon. Something that the Panthers are really excited to see, and they want to see it keep up in the second half.
Interesting enough, you mentioned it. George with 9, Sweet with 9, Cook with 3. Those are the only 3 players that have scored for Plymouth State. So we'll see if some more players can get involved. But look at that big number down there at the bottom of the screen. Turnovers, 11 for Plymouth State, 7 for UMass Boston. In terms of points scored off of turnovers, it's been kind of small.
Yeah.
We're hoping that can grow, and you'd think that's going to be the big difference here in the second half. Who can get the points off turnovers?
Instead of points off turnovers, it's been more like turnovers off turnovers, where they steal the ball, but then they give it away themselves, and then there's another giveaway, and it's been kind of a mess. So both these teams obviously operating a lot better when they can set up a play. They want to work a little better under duress, because that's the kind of thing that happens when both teams are playing great defense and causing turnovers.
So we are under a minute now getting started here in the second half. Again, if you are just joining us, we had a delay, a 22-minute delay to start, but then we've opened it up, and it does, you see empty stands, but it is a packed house. You just can't see them on the screen. They're right below us. It's been nothing but energy here so far today.
It has, and what a showing for the Beacons. A lot of student athletes from other teams coming out to support their team. We've got a youth team here that just played at halftime on the court. A cool moment for them. We've got a lot of fans in the house. We'll try to keep you in mind that they're right below where the camera can see. So we'll hopefully be getting some reactions from our end cameras. But as far as the back end, there's just a little bit of water over there. So we got the fans moved over here, and they're still bringing the energy in the second half from this end.
Meanwhile, before we get started, let's look at our LEC scoreboard around the conference. Castleton is at Eastern Connecticut. Right now, looking at the scoreboard, it is an Eastern Connecticut State rolling 63-38. We'll give you some more scores in just a little bit. It looked like we had a clock malfunction. Looks like someone got a little eager on the jump. Other games we've got, like they're just working on I think they're just setting it up. Sure, it's okay. And here we go. Panthers going to start with the possession here. This will be Autumn Nelson starting with it. Both teams have their starting 5s on the floor. Bank shot for George is no good. Rebound goes to Dixon.
Now they want to take their time. They don't want to move too fast. They're a fast team, but they sometimes get a little too fast for their own offense. So they want to take their time here, get a good shot off. Carrie Farina over to Meg Dixon.
Off the mark. Rebound to Pearson. Now going back to Farina. Extra possession here. Talked about it. Offensive rebounds are going to be very important.
They are. UMass Boston's a big second chance team.
A little bit short there on the jumper. Here come the Panthers the other way, just past the first minute of play. George going to Ingalls. Over to Sweet. Sweet scored the first 9 points for the Panthers to start the game. 6 on the shot clock here. Nelson driving, puts up a layup off the mark. Now the rebound to Dixon. Goes Farina, now back to Dixon. Going down low, Potter. No foul called. Looks like the referee had the arm up but did not blow the whistle.
Yep, saw something but didn't see enough for sure.
Referees today, by the way, Chris Bradley, Gina Restiano, and Jerry Withington. props to them for how they've handled the delay and then eventually getting to officiate this game. Here goes Olivier the other way. Now to Farina. Farina slowing things up. Olivier's going to shoot it. A little bit long. Right there is Dixon. Trying to weave her way in. Unable to do it. Olivier tracking down the loose ball. Extra possession here for the Beacons.
Talk about second opportunities. How about third opportunities, and then a fourth maybe even here for the Beacons, who just keep grabbing those offensive rebounds. It's huge for them.
7 on the shot clock here. Olivier is going to try and drive. Puts up the layup. No good. Potter's second chance. No, but she draws the foul. So eventually all those offensive rebounds have paid off, and Alexa Potter will get herself to the free throw line.
Yeah, some tough shots faced for the Beacons, but they just keep grabbing those rebounds and giving themselves another shot to get a bucket, and now Alexa Potter with a chance for 2.
Beacons so far are 2 of 5 from the free throw line. This will be attempt 6 and 7 for Potter. Potter, the second leading scorer, knocking down the first one. Potter fairly quiet here so far. Went into the halftime, 6.7 rebounds. Got to think they'll be feeding her a lot more here in this half.
Absolutely. The offense starts with her. I've been saying it all day long, but she is the person to start with to get the ball down low.
And Potter goes 2 for 2, and it's a 7-point lead. And there are 2 weeks left after today in the regular season before postseason gets underway. UMass Boston clinging to the 6th and final spot. Only a game up on Southern Maine. Meanwhile, Plymouth State right at the bottom. A loss would virtually eliminate them from postseason contention. There's Nelson to Cook at the elbow. Cook off the mark. Dixon grabs the miss.
Meg Dixon, just a rebounding machine. Like it's understated because of how well she scores, but it's almost every single possession down on defense. She's grabbing that defensive board.
Here's now Farina over to Olivier. Olivier driving, deflected, but Green captures it. Here's Dixon with 10 on the shot clock, and a little hesitation on the shot. She traveled, and it's going to go to Plymouth State.
That is a atypical mistake for Meg Dixon. That is out of character for her. She is usually very careful with the ball, very aware of her surroundings.
Mentioned it, 10 points, 4 of 11 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3 heading into halftime. Here is Sweet with a deep 3, front rims it. There's Olivier with the rebound. Now Farina will bring it up on offense. Olivier looking, not a lot of options here, and a travel. Some good defense there by the Panthers. You saw Olivier, she wanted to go to Potter. They double-teamed her, and then just the trap right there on the baseline gives it back to the Panthers.
Yeah, and this is what the Beacons usually do to other teams, but now the Panthers giving it back a little bit, just causing enough disruption to make them make mistakes.
The 9th turnover of the afternoon for UMass. Sweet running the floor, gets it to Ingles. Ingles now back to Sweet. And back to Ingles, driving. Unable to get the shot to go, and the Beacons get it right back.
Another empty possession for the Panthers. They have not yet scored in this second half here, and they are looking for something more on offense than a turnover. They at least want to get a shot off and see something go up.
Yeah, only 2 points actually have been scored. Those were the Alexa Potter free throws. Dixon's going to try and change that, and knocks in the 3.
When she's on, she's really on. Meg Dixon has such a nice three-point shot. If she can take the right ones and not waste her time with contested or bad angles, it really is a big bump for their offense.
Now the drive, backing it out is Sweet to Ingles. Fakes the 3. Heavy pressure from Potter on the perimeter. Looks like isolation here, and a foul. So interesting strategy here. You're seeing it here in the offense. We talked about it. They were doing it late in the second, but bringing Alexa Potter out in isolation on the perimeter seems to be the strategy for Plymouth State.
It is, and it worked out for them there because she drew a foul, and it's an out-of-position spot for Alexa Potter, and the fact that everyone on Plymouth State can pretty much play every position is big because Alexa Potter is really only comfortable down low.
That was big right there from George, putting in the layup, drawing the foul, and getting a chance at a three-point play. How well can Plymouth State hang around? That's going to be the key. Both offenses are struggling, but it's going to be the big baskets that make the difference.
Absolutely. They need to be able to go shot for shot with the Beacons, and if they can get one that the Beacons can't, then that's going to be huge. That's going to swing the momentum because it's a short lead for the Beacons right now.
And that's a three-point play for Sophie George. Gets her at double digits with 12, and it's a 7-point lead for UMass Boston at the halfway point of the third. Here's Fevry, who just checked in. Tiana Fevry crossing over, loses the handle, though. It'll be a jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Beacons. Got Fevry, Dixon, Farina, Olivier, and Green out there on the floor for the Beaks. Meanwhile, they're 12 of 30 is UMass Boston from the field, 30% overall on field goals. Fevry.
That's kind of the messy offensive game we expected from both teams. It's going to be a battle of defenses like it has been all afternoon.
5 of 3 on the shot clock. Farina with the turnaround off the mark.
Great move in space. Couldn't get the shot to fall, but.
Go Sarah Sweet once again. Interesting. Sarah Sweet, she scored those first 9 points, but she's been quiet ever since.
Yep. She started hot and then cooled off a little bit here, and she's not made it contributions as of late, but still handling the ball well for the Panthers.
Dixon went for the steal. Cook now with the baseline 3. Off the mark. Olivier fighting for the rebound. She's got it. Here she comes, pushing the floor all by herself. Gonna go coast to coast, blocked by Cook. Cook now coming back the other way. Trying to advance it for George. Farina with the interception.
And a little handle there to get it away from a reaching George.
Yeah, and the tiptoe of the side of the out-of-bounds line.
Carrie Farina works well in space. She really does.
There's Green a little bit too far under the basket, and a jump ball.
And that's just a mistake that the Beacons as a team make way too often. They end up right under the basket, and then they can't get a good look from that position.
We'll get a timeout here. 4:03 to go in the third quarter. Beacons lead by 7. As we'll take a look at this replay once again. Dixon, just you leave her a little bit of space, she's going to make you pay on those threes.
Absolutely she is. That's what she's been doing for years, and she's going to do it here this afternoon.
Dixon right now, 13 points. You have to think the offense is going to be sort of that two-person game. If Potter's on the floor, it's going to Dixon. If it ain't Dixon, it's got to go to Potter.
Absolutely, 100%. They work well together, and they work well off of one another. So the two of them combined are going to do a lot on offense for you night in and night out.
Turnovers right now 13-9. 13 for the Panthers, 9 for the Beaks. Points in the paint. That's been the sort of the undercard right here that we didn't really talk about. 16-6 in favor of UMass Boston, trying to use their size to their advantage.
That's huge. Yeah, we keep talking about the height, the height of Alexa Potter, the underrated size of Meg Dixon. The two of them can grab rebounds, and the second chance opportunities cannot be understated. The Beacons have grabbed so many offensive boards, and it really makes a difference down low.
So 4:03 mentioned in this third quarter, I should say. Plymouth State, meanwhile, shooting 24%. Both teams are 3 of 16 from 3. So it doesn't look like the three-pointers are going to make a big difference.
No, not really. Neither of these teams want to rely on that three-pointer if they can avoid it.
Now this one goes to Sweet. Not only that, what we haven't talked about, Max, is both teams running a short bench. So
they are.
Might think things are slowed down because there aren't that many bodies playing. Oh, what a floater there. You talked about Sarah Sweet. Just got her first point since the first 9 that she scored.
An incredible move by Sarah Sweet. She's really got it on today. Even though it cooled off for a little bit, she's having quite the game overall. Because you mentioned about 4 points per game is what we expect from her.
Olivier from the corner knocking down a three-pointer.
And she has been a revelation as of late. She started the season off shooting a lot of threes, not making a ton. But lately, man, when she pulls from 3, you get nervous on defense because she really has a good shot.
There's the steal by Fevry. got one to beat, and she draws the foul on the fast break. Only had to work with Nelson, and she'll get herself to the free throw line.
Veteran play by the freshman to draw the shooting foul there. Chance for two here, and like I mentioned, Tatiana Fevry off the bench as a young player makes a huge impact.
By the way, 3 personal fouls for Autumn Nelson. We haven't seen it in the stat sheet, but she's had a big impact for Plymouth State, why they're still remaining in this game. As the first one for Fevry's off the mark.
In a close game down late here, you want those free ones. You want to be able to extend the lead, even if it's just a little bit.
And the second one is good. Fevry goes 1 of 2, and the lead is at 9. This is the largest lead for the Beacons so far today. Sweet looking for options. Working against Olivier. Now for the cutting. Oh, Dixon with the block on Ingalls.
Unreal.
Here comes Jensen the other way. Dixon just stayed attached to the body. Was able to get the block. Olivier. Back-to-back threes. That goes nothing but the nylon.
When you're hot, you're hot. Paige Olivier didn't hesitate for a second, and she didn't need to. That is the shot that she likes to take.
What a beautiful, again, offense into defense. That's been a big strategy. Been a big part of it, I should say. And Olivier, that wasn't just any kind of three. That was a couple of feet behind the arc.
It was. It was an NBA three, if you go by that terminology.
Yeah.
She splashed that one.
We'll get the replay on that in just a moment, but we said it, defense into offense. Here goes Nelson. Looking for George a little bit wide. Able to track it down.
Sabela Jensen attached to George at the hip right now.
Now here's Sweet. Working against Olivier. And Green got a hand on it, it looked like. There was a little bit of contact, but no foul. Here's Dixon with some space. There's another one.
The Beaks as a team have found their spot. That corner of the three-point arc. They are hitting everything from out there. Olivier and Dixon are the 2 best three-point shooters on the team.
Yeah, back-to-back left elbow threes. One by Olivier, one by Dixon, and Fevry with the foul on Nelson. Nelson will get herself to the line. That's the first to go on Fevry. It was a shooting foul. These are free throw attempts 8 and 9. Both teams will have 9 attempts after these two. Nelson, meanwhile, senior guard from Ware, New Hampshire. Unable to hit the first one. Nelson, we mentioned it. She's got that impact stat sheet and non-stat sheet. She's able to have both as Nelson on the year. Only 3.5 points per game, but so far we've seen an increased role and a big impact on defense.
She's got a real interesting ritual at the free throw line. She had the hitch in her shot and then the one-arm protrusion. It went down that time, so if it works, it works.
Here's Dixon. No good. I'm talking about that elbow three.
Cannot
tried
fault
it
her
again.
For trying it, yeah.
And George, she lost the handle. It looks like the referee was saying the ball hit the line. Or are the refs discussing it possibly? And they are confirming. Lee Swanson arguing that the ball was deflected. So it looked like, just going back in the play, George lost the handle a little bit behind her and then got the possession back. And when she dribbled it, once she got that possession, it was on the half-court line. So
yes.
I think that's what the referee is discussing.
That's what it looked like.
He just talking about it there with Coach Swanson. Now a 14-point lead for UMass Boston on the final minute and a half to go. Here's Jensen with the crossover. Floater in the lane, banks it home.
What a find by Sabela Jensen. Excellent drive to the basket, a floater off the backboard. That was quite the move from the freshman. She looked real smooth on that drive.
This is dangerous here for Plymouth State. Seeing that lead slowly grow. Got to try and keep it close.
This is how the Beacons win games.
Oh, Dixon with another block, but then she draws the foul. Had a big block on the step back three by George.
She does it all. Offense, defense. She's going to be around the ball doing something impactful every possession.
That is the second personal to go on Dixon. As we'll see Natalie Harris check in for the first time. We also see Reagan Peck for the first time. Here's Cook. Looking for options. Down low, this is Peck. Now gets it back out. George gathers it. 8 on the shot clock. George gets it out. Shot. No good. And it will go back to the Beacons. That shot was by Hurd. Now 46.8 to go. A little bit of full court press here. Oh,
Ooh.
Jensen with the crossover. Able to get free. Now here's Olivier. Off the mark. There's Green with the offensive rebound. How about that? That's a small lineup out there, but they're still getting those offensive rebounds.
It's huge. Everyone on this Beacons roster can grab a board on the offensive end, which is it's really important when they need those second chance points, and that's been the big difference here today. It's been offensive rebounding for the Beacons. Sunny Green does it as well as anybody.
Shot clock and game clock about even with each other. Have to think Panthers are going to try and dwindle it down as much as they can. Cook gathers, wanted the step back, goes to Hurd. Hurd blocked by Dixon, now to Olivier. 2 seconds to go, trying to push the floor to Jensen. And couldn't get the shot off in time. But how about the stretch here for UMass Boston as they are now rolling here. They started off up 26-21. They go on a 19-6 run, and they lead it by 18 here in this third quarter. We'll be right back to start the fourth.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go.
What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people is
Back at the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium, fourth quarter underway. Max, it was a three-point barrage in the second half of that third quarter. Check out one of them from Paige Olivier.
Transition from defense to offense, we've talked about it. Savela Jensen sets the play up well, and then Paige Olivier, nobody within a few feet of her. She's going to take that shot every time.
And here's Dixon off the mark for three.
Oh, man.
And there's Fevry on the offensive rebound. And now we kind of saw it. You know, oh, what a pass. And Dixon cutting into the paint and putting in the layup. I was going to say, we didn't realize how big that lead grew until we looked up after those threes. All of a sudden, boom, it's a 20-point game.
This is how the Beacons win games against you. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. They slowly beat you down, get a bunch of stops, get a few nice, tough buckets down on the other end, and all of a sudden, they're up by 20 points.
Here's Cook with a high floater, no. Fevry had the rebound, but eventually had to deflect it to Olivier. Beacons, after that third quarter, are now 6 of 22 from beyond the arc. Overall, they're shooting just under 35%. Here's Olivier, corner three. No, Jensen, though, finds
nice
Fevry on the cut. Count it,
and the basket.
Foul.
What a find by Sabela Jensen. That's a freshman-to-freshman play. The youngest players on the team finding each other, and down low, Tatiana Fevry is getting some tough buckets. She's only 5'5", but she plays like she's 6 foot.
And I got to say, those first couple of plays out here in the fourth, You've had players moving without the ball, cutting into the paint on those rebounds. That's huge, and I'm pretty sure that's what Heather Jacob stressed during that break.
Absolutely. Movement away from the ball, setting up the play, it's crucial to what the Beacons are trying to get done on offense.
Fevry doesn't hit the free throw, though. The three-point play is a no-go, but it's still a 22-point lead. This is Raven Fremont checking in for the first time today. Now here's George with a deep three, knocks it down. Sophie George, another player who went a little bit quiet, had 9 points at halftime. Now she's got 15. Fevry looking for options to Dixon. Cross court to Olivier. A little bit of a mishandle there in the corner. Otherwise, she probably wanted the shot there. Fevry is short on the jumper. Green with the offensive rebound. Back out. Dixon, three. Knocks it down.
Once she's in her groove, there's nothing you can really do to slow her down. When she is confident in her three-point ball, it's going to fall every time.
Now Fremont going to Cook. Cook looking for a cutter. A little bit in front of George. Dixon right there to pick it off. And the reach-in foul there by Sweet. As that looked like a 3-on-2 opportunity. Dixon decided to just take it herself and run right through.
The foul was probably a smart idea. They had 3-on-2, three of their most talented ball handlers out there against two Plymouth defenders. You'd rather have her at the line. Or, sorry, no, it was not a shoot. They're not in the bonus yet, so it's just the possession. So the better decision there for Plymouth.
And it looked like they were going for Fevry was going for Dixon in the post. A little too high on the pass, though. Go back to Plymouth State. Meanwhile, Meg Dixon's got 5 steals here on the afternoon. Got 21 points overall. There is George going to Cook. Cook driving in, floater off the glass. No, rebound tipped, and Olivier is going to gather it. She's got one to beat. She drives in, and she draws the foul on Sweet, and Olivier will get her back to the line.
Fouls starting to rack up for Plymouth State. They're up to 3 now to 0 for the Beacons.
Kind of interesting here. They're here in the fourth quarter. Beaks are running. They're using the fast break a lot more.
They absolutely are. I think they're realizing that they are the faster team as well as the bigger team. So I think they're using both of those advantages to their advantage.
First one goes down. And the second one is good. Here's ahead to George. Now to Sweet. Sweet's going to take it. A little bit long.
Almost.
Loose ball gathered to Fremont. Fevry stays in bounds and comes up with the steal.
Fevry is making the plays that she needs to make. Whenever the ball's in her vicinity, she seems to be doing something good with it.
And you know the old adage, he's a freshman.
Yes, that's right.
A young player making some veteran plays, I believe you said earlier. That's a really good line. I'm gonna use that in the future.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Here goes Fremont up ahead to George. And a blocking foul called on Farina.
Not something that Carrie and Farina needed to do, but as we mentioned, they've got fouls to give, but kind of a silly foul there.
That is the third personal to go on Farina. So you saw Sweet's got 3 and Farina's got 3. Both 11s are in a little bit of foul trouble. Of course, Beacons with the comfortable 24-point lead. It was a 19-6 advantage in that third quarter. That one is short, and the Panthers will give it up, I should say.
The interesting shooting form on Autumn Nelson. I thought it was just on her free throws, but she took a three-pointer and had one hand going, and then one hand kind of pushing the defender away. Interesting style of shot. Didn't quite work out for her there.
Coming up here on 6.5 minutes. Comfortable 24-point lead. Beacons are shooting 35% from the floor, 29% from 3. They're 7 of 24. They've got a plus 18 rebounding margin over Plymouth State. Here's Dixon. Backs it out. Goes now to Farina. 7 on the shot clock. She's going to drive, and she'll lose the handle. Went off her foot. And it's going to go back to the Panthers. Looks like they're just playing sort of safe. They're not attacking as much as they normally are. They're letting that shot clock run down.
Absolutely.
They see the deficit that Plymouth State has to make up, and they're just playing safe.
Yep. I think they don't need to rush a single thing. They can use up the whole shot clock every time if they like. The last thing they want is to give Plymouth State a bunch of extra possessions.
Sweet is left alone, and she knocks down the 3.
Hey, she's keeping it up with the good shooting today. Sarah Sweet has been a bright note for Plymouth State on this not so great afternoon.
And is that going to be a foul on Nelson? It is. That's 4 personal now to go on Autumn Nelson. By the way, Sarah Sweet with 14 points on the afternoon, right behind her teammate George with 15. Everyone chasing Dixon's 21. Jensen goes into Farina. And you'll see it once we go to the other side of the floor. You got the men of Plymouth State warming up. That's game 2 of our doubleheader between UMass Boston and Plymouth State. Oh, what a pass by Fevry. Finding Jensen.
They've been working together like, I don't know, like Jordan and Pippen tonight. Tatiana Fevry and Sabela Jensen, both first-year players, finding each other in the open space and making some really impressive plays.
George looking to drive, now pulls up off the glass. No, there's Fevry once again on the rebound. And we are coming up on the halfway mark. Olivier, catch and shoot 3.
That's a heat check for Paige Olivier. She's been all the way on today, and even with a couple hands in her face, she splashed that 3.
Gonna try and get the numbers here for Paige Olivier, but she has had a very strong game offensively. Much better than the 4-point performance. I should say 8 points, 3 rebounds. Fevry again to Jensen.
How do you like that? 1 and 1. They're going right back. The 1-2 punch of Tatiana Fevry and Sabela Jensen. Not only are you excited to see this duo right now, you're excited to see this duo for the next 3 years.
Plymouth State takes the timeout. It's now 61-33, a 28-point lead. And this has got to feel good for UMass Boston.
Absolutely, and they're getting a big momentum win here because not only are they winning the game to protect their spot in the rankings, they are looking good doing it, which is huge going into the tournament. I think they've played some close games with some of the top teams in this league, and they could really surprise some people come tourney time. So this is huge for momentum. This is huge for the Beaks. They like the look of this game right now.
So Dixon with 21 and 12, 21 and 11, I should say. That's another double-double on her stat sheet. Paige Olivier with 12 points here on the afternoon. Of course, 3 of 11 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. Has a couple of free throws as well. But she's got 12 and 9. She's flirting with a double-double. 8 and 9. Or I should say, I'm looking at this really tight. 12 points, 9 rebounds. Olivier a rebound shy of a double-double. Potter with 8 and 8. It's been all around a great performance here from UMass Boston. And even Fevry, it says 3 points, but I see 4 steals. I see 3 assists. That's the key here in this last stretch of the season.
Everyone is making an impact in one way or the other, and that's the team game that the Beacons like to play. It's working to perfection here this afternoon. This was a much-needed bounce back after a loss to UMass Dartmouth to remind them that they work well together. Things can flow like this.
Nice turnaround there from Jalen Cook. And we talked about it pregame that UMass Boston is clinging onto that final playoff spot. Came into today only 1 game up on Southern Maine. And we're going to try and give you the scoreboard from other action at women's basketball. We can probably give you an update on how standings would be according to some results.
And once again, a big play from Tatiana Fevry there. She got into the right position to draw the foul. Didn't get the bucket to go, but she got exactly what she was looking for, and now she's going to the line for a pair.
Well, now the Beacons are in the bonus off of the 3rd personal foul from Ingles. So it's going to be nothing but free throws here for the Beak. So, again, scoreboard around the LEC. We do have a final from Danbury, Connecticut. Keene State remaining undefeated. They go to 13-0 in conference play with a 72-34 51 win over Western Connecticut. I got to tell you, it's going to be tough for I read that wrong. Keene State 2-10. They go to 3-10, and they get themselves, depending on how things go, they could leapfrog ahead of Southern Maine, who right now playing against UMass Dartmouth. We have a final there. UMass Dartmouth coming up with a victory 77-71 over Southern Maine. So it looks like the Beacons are going to get a little bit of breathing room in the standings.
That's what we like to hear. Corsairs are getting hot, and a little room in the standings is great news for the Beacons. Huskies were right on their tail, as it were, and a little bit of breathing room is fantastic news heading towards this tournament.
One other game we have that just went final, Eastern Connecticut State with a dominating win over Castleton, 70-46. So right now, this is the last women's game that is currently taking place, and it looks like it's going the way of UMass Boston. So if you're doing the math really quickly, which I'm trying to do really quickly, Western Connecticut State, they lose their game. UMass Boston wins their game. So it looks like if things hold certain, UMass Boston is going to move themselves after today into 5th place.
That's fantastic news for a team that struggled at times during conference play, but has really picked it up here towards the end. And for them to be moving up in the standings is great news because they're inching closer to that home playoff game, which they would love to pick up if at all possible.
Yeah, we mentioned it. To get at least one home game, they got to get to the 4 seed, as Cook is unable to hit. They've got to get to that 4 spot. Castleton now is at 7-5. That means it's a game and a half, I want to say, just doing the quick math in head. I think a game and a half to 2 games that they're sitting behind Castleton. So basically, they've got to win out. UMass Boston does to get that home game.
Step 1, win out, absolutely. Which I think they have the power to do. They've got some big matchups coming up, but this is a team that's getting hot at the right time, and the way they look today, they are in perfect harmony working together.
By the way, we're seeing Emily Garufi and Sierra Brigham in for the first time for UMass Boston. Cook, wild shot, tracked down by Fevry.
This lineup has 4 first-year players in it, so this is a little look at the future for the Beacons. Fevries, Jensen, Jakimi Pearson, and Brigham, all freshmen. Look at Tatiana Fevry, man, having the game of her life right now. She has been fantastic in meaningful minutes and now in less than meaningful minutes, but a peek into the future. Look, things look great for the Beacons.
It's now a 29-point lead. As you see, Ingles looking to turn and fire, does get the bounce. As we're under 3 minutes now to go in this game. 64-37. Looks like Plymouth State is going to unload their bench as well. So this is, we mentioned moving up in the standings, going for that home game, but they also get breathing room as they could be a lock into the postseason. They could lock up their postseason spot by the end of next week.
That's really exciting. I think there were doubts at times about this UMass Boston team, just because of some struggles on offense that they really went through. But the team that they're looking like now is completely different from the team that played earlier this season.
3-pointer there by George, as Coach Swanson's just taking a timeout for substitutions, just unloading the bench. Now 64-40 is the score. And it looks like UMass Boston's going to take a full timeout as well. So we've got the men coming up, and we'll talk about the men in just a little bit. But the men have lost 4 straight games. Actually, 3 straight games, I should say. 3 straight games, 4 of their last 5. So this is as important as it is for the women for both sides. The men have a game that's just as important.
Yeah, they were on a historic winning streak earlier this season, and it was in large part due to some scheduling beneficiaries. They played some of the not so strong teams from the conference and then ran into an absolute gauntlet in the last couple weeks. So they're struggling right now, but this is still one of the best teams on the men's side of the LAC conference, and they'd like to prove it today against Plymouth State.
But the women have got to finish. Here goes Garufi, knocking down the 3. And look at the bench. They are excited.
I believe those are her first points of the season, if I'm correct.
The junior guard from Milton, Mass, putting in another triple. That's the 10th three-pointer, sorry, 9th three-pointer of the afternoon. Saw Plymouth State, they unloaded their bench. George is out there.
For Garufi's first points in conference play. So that's her first bucket in a few months. So that's huge for her.
Knocked away by Brigham. So Plymouth State unload their bench. George is out there with Isabel Costa, Emily Van Steensberg, Isabella Namaxi, and Ainsley McDonald. This one's stolen by Jensen. Jensen goes to Garufi. He's going to back it up. Bevery goes to Jakimi Pearson. Coming up in the final minute, here goes Brigham on the drive. Out to Bevery, fakes it. Now pull up, knocks it down.
Bang. Tatiana Febvre really looks like an upperclassman right now. The way that she is controlling space, finding good passes, knocking down buckets from all over the court. It's really an impressive run for her.
And how about the second half here for UMass Boston? See the loose ball. Plymouth State gathers it back, but UMass Boston taking it right away. Fevry's got an open basket. She'll lay it home. UMass Boston scored 26 points at halftime. Doing quick math in your head, they've got 45. So they've almost doubled their halftime score.
Their half is better than Plymouth's full game right now.
Here's Jensen, easy layup, and the Beacons just continue to pour it on. So it's just a matter of how big is that lead going to be.
If you think these two groups aren't hungry, these are two groups of players that are going to be playing in the future. These are young players, so they want to prove something here.
So for Plymouth State, again, I don't know if they're mathematically eliminated from postseason contention, but it's going to be if it wasn't an uphill bill already,
it's a tough road ahead.
Uphill battle already. It's going to get bigger.
Absolutely.
So now 12.6 to go. Costa will get herself to the free throw line, the freshman from Burrillville, Rhode Island. As we just wait for the clock to wind down here. First one is good. So it looks like it'll be a 30-plus point victory for the Beak. And you might look at that as sort of a runaway game, but this is big for the psyche, as you mentioned, for that Beacons bench.
Absolutely. And we've said it, but if you were here for the first half, you know that this was a really competitive game early on. And in the second half, the Beacons were better at closing out, and they finished off this game really well.
So the final buzzer sounds. That'll do it. UMass Boston uses a strong second half to come out with a dominating performance. They beat Plymouth State 73-42, your final score, and the Beacons have got themselves into 5th place in the LEC, looking for more. Again, we'll say it again, just a great second half. Started out a little bit slow, but how about Dixon, 21 and 11. Olivier goes 12 and 9. Potter, 8 and 8. It looked like you could say about every player that played on the court for UMass Boston, a strong performance.
Absolutely, absolutely. There were no disappointments here this afternoon for the Beaks. The starting five looks really strong. They're all playing their role really well and doing exactly what they need to do. And this was a full team effort here. This second half, it doesn't happen by one player alone. We've seen one player carry the team in the second half. This was not the case in the slightest here today. This was a full team effort. All 5 players on the court at any given moment were making a huge difference.
So we'll give you your final numbers in just a few moments as we gather it. Big win for the Beaks. You see it on the score, 73-42. It was almost like a wear-it-out game. It was like you can't win it in the first half. And so Plymouth State, it felt like they were hanging around, but eventually the Beaks were able to just use that strong second half and pull away. We said it during that third quarter. You look up, all of a sudden, boom, it's an 18-point game.
It was a sneaky run by the Beaks. They weren't loud. They weren't making huge, outstanding plays. They were making the right plays. They were in the right place at the right time, getting the buckets they needed, getting the stops they needed, and it turned into really an impressive win for the Beacons. It was not close there at the end, that's for sure.
So again, you see Over on the men's side, they're getting ready to start. They'll get started in just a few minutes. We're just filling out our final stats, and we'll give them to you in just a little bit. What a tremendous we're just going to say it over and over. This is what you need with 2 weeks left into the regular season. Just keep that mentality of every game does feel like the playoffs.
100%. This is the right time to get hot right now. This is when your team needs to be playing their best, and for the Beacons, they played their best ball today. And they hope to keep getting better and better as the season goes on, for sure.
So just giving you some final numbers here. Meg Dixon, we mentioned it, 21 points, 11 rebounds. Paige Olivier, 12 and 9. Tatiana Fevry with a sneaky 10 points and 6 rebounds. So great on her. And now here are your final team statistics. Look at that field goal percentage for UMass Boston, 42%. You know, that 33% doesn't show, it doesn't tell the whole story. It was more from that first half. But look at the rebounds and the turnovers were huge in favor of UMass Boston.
It was everything. And I think we talked about points in the paint. We talked about second chance opportunities. We talked about everything that the Beacons needed to do right. They did right. They played big. They got the boards that they needed. And, man, that defense is just overwhelming. I mean, the Beacons caused so many turnovers that other teams normally wouldn't be used to making. But when you have 5 players in your face all the time, man defense, constantly, it's disruptive, and it causes you to make mistakes that you're not used to making.
Yeah, rebounds 50-28 in favor of UMass Boston. The assists 20-6 in favor of UMass Boston. The turnovers 15. I mean, that's the one area you'd like to clean up. 15 turnovers, but hey, it's not the 34 that we saw against UMass Dartmouth.
Absolutely. It's better than your worst, not as good as you need to beat a good team, like a consistently good offensive team. It works against Plymouth State. They want to clean it up more when they face a team that is a little more, opportunistic about their takeaways.
How about these numbers right here? Points in the paint, 28-8, UMass Boston. Second chance points, 14-0. Fast break points, 16-0. Bench points, 23-2.
Second chance points, 14-0 stands out to me. I mean, the Beacons grabbed so many offensive rebounds that they needed, and they weren't giving up rebounds when they were on defense. They made huge plays, and it made the difference. Like we said, second chance points are going to win games for the Beacons because of their great rebounding.
So again, we are getting ready for the second game of our doubleheader. Again, we thank all of you for tuning in during the delay. We have the 23-minute delay. We eventually got underway. No one seemed fazed. Great crowd, very willing with all the chaos that was going on.
Absolutely.
So we thank all of you for sticking around for as long as you have. We're just getting our final leaders in just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about the men before we see our final team leaders for the women's side of things. Plymouth State, they're kind of in the same boat as the women's side, and they're still looking for that playoff spot, and it's an uphill climb for them, sitting in 8th place, but it's still a possibility, and a win would really help them out.
Absolutely, like the women, they want to see one go through the rim. To put it into basketball terms, they want to see one go through. They want to see a win. My first look at them, my first impression is that they look a little short-handed. Can't tell exactly how many of these guys are going to be in uniform come game time, but the Beacons are a deep team with a great bench. And if their starting 5 doesn't get to you, their second 5 are definitely going to get to you. So Plymouth State got to keep up that stamina and stay in this game for the long haul, because the Beacons are going to give you 40 minutes of good basketball.
Well, we've got the men coming up in just a little bit, but let's look at the upcoming schedule for the women's side of things. You see, they knocking off Plymouth State, then they host Castleton, then they've got Rhode Island College, Southern Maine, and Keene State to wrap up the regular season. So it's going to be a fun home stretch here for the regular season, as we've got 2 weeks to go until the playoffs. So our production team for the women's side is going to sign off. Thanks to everyone involved in our production. Our producer, Michael Vesky, our director, Maria Spilios, our camera operators, Katie Rennie, Elsa Vanato, Georgia Bonney, and Miranda Cuddy, our graphics, Grace Kelly, and our replay center from Elena Albano. And for Max Clifford, I'm Joe Braverman. Thank you for watching women's basketball. We got the men's side coming up in about 20 minutes or so. Stay with us here on the Beacons Broadcast Network, presented by LEC TV.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just a starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go.
What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and
to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its